I have been mentally checking out of my 6-year relationship with my boyfriend. What do I do? I have been in a committed relationship with my boyfriend for 6 years. And I think it's slowly coming to an end and it's scaring me shitless. We began dating when I just started my bachelor's degree in 2017. It was my first serious relationship in my life and I was head over heels. We had a bit of a long distance at first, about 300 kilometers, but we've been living together for about 4.5 years, my apartment. If I look at our relationship from a distance, I really have it good. My boyfriend really loves me, would probably take a bullet for me, is kind and patient with me, but the one thing he doesn't want to do is grow and change alongside me, and I've started to feel like this relationship has maybe started to hold me back. I don't want to sound cruel, but, in the time we spent together, I got my bachelor's, master's and even postgraduate degrees. I got a better paying job and have been working full-time since 2019, got my first job before I finished my first degree. I gained a bit of weight during COVID but have been working out 3 to 4 times a week and lost it already. I taught myself programming. I read every day. I learn German and Italian every day. Meanwhile, my boyfriend just kinda exists and floats through life. He is self-employed, kinda, he's an artist so he works for himself, and used to make a lot more than me in royalties etc., but haven't made anything new in like 3 years. He's been resting on his laurels since his last big project and living off the residual money. He smokes weed every single day, most of his money goes there, and despite my efforts and pleading he doesn't want to quit. He also gained weight during COVID but made no effort to lose it, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a shallow bitch and I still find him attractive, I like a bigger guy and I love him just as he is. It's just such an unhealthy lifestyle both physically and mentally and I'm so worried about him. Due to his self-employment he doesn't have health insurance at all, which in our country is free if your wife/husband has a contract of employment. I do, but I'm not his wife. And don't get me wrong, I couldn't give less of a shit about being married at all, don't want kids etc., but sometimes I'm sad that maybe he does take me for granted so much he won't even give me a ring. And I just wanted to marry so I won't have to worry about him dying. BC we won't have money for doctors. I don't want a big wedding or anything. I'm happy with whatever he's ready to give me. He's also been depressed and quite agoraphobic for the last couple of years, and while I had extreme depression and anxiety I took actions to get better, went to therapy, made myself start eating and sleeping better, working out etc. He just takes his medicine, games with his friends for 12 hours a day and hopes for the best. It's taken a toll on our intimate relationship too. We have sex like once a month or less, and we used to do it like 3 a week. He just doesn't want to. I have a very high libido but don't want ever to pressure him into anything, and I know it's partly the medicine's fault. But I know it has had an impact on us too. And I don't feel pursued. During last 3 months like 90% of our dates has been planned and executed by me. And I know I'm not perfect, I have a lot of flaws, I am autistic as fuck and have communication issues. But I'm ready to change and be better. I would do anything for him. It's not about wanting to be with somebody else, either. I'm faithful and have always been. There is nobody else. I just don't see myself living like this for the rest of my life. I want to be pursued, to be wanted, to not be taken for granted. I feel so alone with all of this. I don't have anyone I can tell all that to, because everyone thinks I have it so good. And I honestly can't imagine my life without him. I love him, but I'm so tired. I honestly don't know what to do. I just want to be happy and for him to be happy like we used to. Thanks if you read all that. Please be kind and mindful of my currently very raw feelings. What do I do now? Next story 2. I feel like my relationship with my boyfriend's family is progressively getting worse because of my social anxiety. I feel like my relationship with my boyfriend's family is progressively getting worse because of my social anxiety. We've been dating for around 10 months and I've visited his family around 4 times. My BF and I went to the same school, so these were often visits during breaks and would involve me staying at their house for around 4 days. Every time has been incredibly awkward and stressful. My boyfriend and his family are all very outgoing. They're loud and boisterous. I'm soft-spoken and already struggle to speak up in group settings, so having to insert myself into conversations has been hard. I go to therapy, and part of healing from social anxiety has been accepting that I'm quiet and won't always have something to say, but I feel like his family takes huge offense to this. Every time I've visited, my BF and his twin get into blow-up arguments about things loosely related to me. One time it was about him and I wanting to do our own thing apart from her and her friends, other times it was about changing plans due to my anxiety, but most recently it was related to an awkward dinner we had together. My BF, his twin, one of their mutual friends, and I went out to Applebee's for some drinks and half-off appetizers. In the car and at the restaurant, his twin and the friend almost exclusively talked about people and events my BF and I knew nothing about. Apart from a brief conversation about video games, my BF and I just had our own side conversation. So I essentially said nothing to her or the friend the entire dinner. His twin took huge offense to this and they got into a day-long fight about how awkward my BF and I had made dinner by having a conversation apart from them. I just don't know what to do. I try to have conversations with her, but all I know about her is that she goes to law school. I ask her things and get single-sentence replies. Every conversation feels like I'm pulling teeth. She has never asked me a single question about me or my interests. My BF has talked to a therapist in the past about his twin, and the therapist suggested moving to no or lower contact due to things she has said or done in the past. While I know this and my BF reassured me that these arguments are not about me, I know how important it is to my BF that I get along with his family. After these arguments, there is so much tension even when I try to talk to his parents. His twin's friends come over almost daily and give me a cold shoulder. So even if these arguments don't involve me, they affect me. I feel so stuck and I want a positive relationship with his family, but I don't know how to do it without completely ridding myself of my anxiety. How can improve this? Comment. Sounds like you should get closer to his family and further away from his sibling. They're kinda self-centered and it doesn't sound like you have any realistic chance of winning with her. Maybe the rest of the family would be a little easier. You know, we're all different, we're all not perfect. There's nothing wrong with being socially awkward and uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with that, but of course there are times when you can't communicate normally with your family. I advise you not to slow down, not to try to rebuild yourself somehow. Being yourself is the most important thing. Next story 3. What else is there for me to do about her? There was this girl, let's call her Sarah. We hit it off incredibly well, shared common interests, and spent a lot of time together in class. I started developing feelings for her and I knew she felt the same way. The only problem is she was just a lot. She gossips a lot, knows everything about everyone, and is just very extra with everything. I don't know why I like her when socially we're the complete opposites. I had super strict parents growing up and she was the type to tell everyone everything, so I just knew I couldn't date someone like that no matter how much I wanted to. I'm away from home now, but in the moment that's all I thought about. Also, I felt like she was way out of my league anyway. She was pretty good looking, had a great social life, unlike me, and came from an insanely wealthy family. She had family at the company I want to work for in the future and said she could always give me an opportunity if I wanted it. She was a great person overall and I made sure to let her know. We weren't romantic or anything and I would barely consider us friends, but the connection was there. We just vibed. I don't know how else to describe it. Things were fine up until after the day I asked if I could attend one of her events. She found out I spoke negatively about her looks. I don't know why I did since she's not even ugly, behind her back months before. This caused us to end our friendship on bad terms, and I deeply regret my actions. Even after I did that, she confessed her feelings to me. Instead of addressing my feelings like an adult, I panicked and did something incredibly stupid. I rejected Sarah. To make matters worse, I started hanging out with one of Sarah's friend, thinking she might be more my type. Plot twist, she wasn't. Fast forward and I started college last week. I thought I'd have a fresh start with new people and new opportunities. I imagined meeting so many different people and moving on from my past. I mean, I can't think about her forever, right? Yeah, reality hit me like a ton of bricks. For the past week I've been surrounded by beautiful and interesting people at parties and social gatherings, but instead of embracing this new chapter, I can't help but think of Sarah. It's funny how the mind works. Sometimes, you obsess over someone you never even dated while missing out on the incredible people around you. What's even crazier is that I sometimes feel like we are on the same wavelength, thinking about each other simultaneously. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but it haunts me nonetheless. My only question now is, what do I do? Do I hit her up? Do I leave it be and just suffer? What if she feels the same way? I'm going crazy, guys. Comment. Leave it be. What you've got is a bit of puppy love. An infatuation. Just leave it alone and focus on your college work and new friends. Word to the wise, start imagining a world where everything you say and write down will be heard and read by the person you're talking about. Sarah could have been a good contact to have, even without a relationship or friendship, but bad-mouthing her behind her back may still cause you issues you don't even see on the horizon yet. You have no idea how far ripples can spread. Start becoming the most positive and encouraging version of yourself. People love the gossip and you'll get people to like you if you badmouth and backstab, but people will respect you if you don't.